one day without training, school, or anything like that. I took the sheer delusional audacity I was given and I just started. That's it. That's the plain, simple fact, right? One day I just started. Yo, what's up? I'm SteveDollas and I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to tell you about who I am, where I'm from, and what I've done in the last 10 years. But I'm going to tell you in 1 minute, all right? So it'll be quick. All right, so timer. My name is SteveDollas. I was born, raised, and currently living in Brooklyn. I just turned 30 years old, and I've done so many things in the last 10 years, including, but not limited to, being an author, entrepreneur, podcaster, yellow taxi and Uber driver, photographer, custodian, videographer, editor, short filmmaker, peer space owner, #1, and a party host, and I pride myself on being a man of the people. All right, so it's a lot of things and there's so much to cover, but today's topic is the most important when it comes to all of that, and we're gonna get into it. The common denominator for all of these things that I just mentioned, right, is that one day without training, school, or anything like that, I took the sheer delusional audacity I was given and I just started. That's it. That's the plain, simple fact, right? One day, for all the things I mentioned, I just started. Some things went better than others. Some things I'm still doing today. Some things I quit. Other things I would love to, but I just don't feel it like working into my lifestyle. There's just so many things to talk about. But the common denominator, like the bottom line, is that one day I just started. I wasn't good. And honestly, this video might not be what I would want to make in 2 years when I look back. But at some point, you just have to start. So I talk to a lot of people about the things I do, what I've done, and then they tell me what they want to do. And I ask them why they haven't started, and they give me this list of reasons, right? I hear these all the time. They all play into each other. And the thing is, if you let one reason stop you, then the other reasons will subsequently follow and nothing will get done. So you almost have to like break the chain of like what it is, and then you'll realize that the rest of the things don't matter, right? So like one of the main reasons people don't try things or like take that first step is because they're afraid of failure. And I feel like it's so much more than just failure. It's judgment, it's rejection, and it's just wanting to be accepted and even praised by our peers, loved ones, family, friends, significant others, right? The issue though is that if you want to do something new, there's a chance that you won't make it. And a lot of people don't want to accept that because accepting that means that they're opening themselves up to the idea of like failure and having like an L attached to their name or being a loser or whatever, you know, people rationalize it as. To me, there's a couple ways to break through that. #1, acknowledge that it is literally a part of the game. Like in anything you do, it is a part of the game. If it hasn't been done before, or if you haven't done it before, or even if you've seen it done but you're not sure, at some point, the people that have either done it before you or in you doing it yourself, there's going to be some lessons learned. And what does lessons start with? Out. All right, so you just gotta get down with the idea that like, you're gonna mess up. It's okay. You're gonna take some L's. And it's just like a natural part of trying new things. Anybody great that you've ever heard of, you watch on the news, TV, music videos, whatever, they definitely started and things weren't always like Gucci. Like they weren't always great. They probably had some mishaps. They didn't know what they were doing. And that's just a part of it, you know, like you just can't beat that. I think the faster you get over the idea that, oh, I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna fail, blah, 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 whatever it is, the faster you actually get to winning. So now that we know that everybody makes mistakes, you're probably not gonna get it right the first time, and there's gonna be hiccups and bumps in the road, I have another question. Who gives the people that are talking the most shit, or will talk the most shit, are not people on your team anyway. Anybody that's ever tried something big doesn't make fun of the people that are trying big things. Another reason I hear people say they don't want to start is because they're not sure where to start. And to me, that's nonsense. This is the one thing that I actually feel like is ridiculous. Everything else on this list is like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. You know, you don't want to be judged. You're scared to fail. You want to be prepared first. I get all that stuff, but not knowing where to start, nonsense. If you have the internet, and by the nature of you watching this video, I'm pretty sure you have the internet, there's no reason to say, I don't know where to start. Literally look it up on YouTube. Go ask a friend, hit a forum, go on Reddit, Google search. Any of those answers is like viable. Like, they're all decent options. Like, that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, get out my face. I'm not listening to you. Like, there's a video on everything. Good things, bad things, things that I don't want to talk about, things that we can't talk about. The internet has almost anything you need to know about almost anything. So that's the one excuse. I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it. The last reason I'm going to cover why people don't get started, and I don't feel like this is a bad reason, but it gets people stuck up the longest, right? Like, they get stuck on this one, and this ends up being years of time between, oh, I have an idea. Oh, I looked into it. I think I can do it, and actually starting, right? That is wanting to be prepared. I get it. I really do. Like, you don't want to just dive in the deep end and not know what you're doing, or not have a good, basis or foundation of what it is that you're, going to get into. And it makes sense, but the long and short of it is that you will never fully be prepared. It is not a reality. If you want to wait until all your ducks are in order, everything's in a row, everything's perfectly set, you'll never do it. You have to get in there and make some mistakes. Because as soon as you figure out one thing, you're going to have to learn another, and you're going to have to learn another. And it's going to take time and trial and error and trial and error and trial and error. And you're going to have to do it over and over and figure it out as you go, because that is just a part of the process. There are going to be things you don't know. There are going to be things that change. There are going to be things that you thought you were prepared for. And then once you actually get to them, you realize you were not prepared for them. These things are just going to happen. And until you begin, you won't be able to figure it out. You just won't. It's like there's too many variables, whether that's day-to-day life, economy, the market, the science of what you're doing, what the trends are. You're just not going to know until you get into it. And then once you're in it, then you can pivot and adjust as you see fit. I don't think anybody can ever be fully prepared for anything, and that's for one specific reason. There are 4 types of knowledge, and there's a thing called unknown unknowns. Let's break it down. There's the known knowns, right? The things you know that you know. There's the known unknowns, the things that you know that you don't know. There's the unknown knowns, the things that you don't even know that you know. And then there's the unknown unknowns. This one, number 4, is the reason why I don't think anybody can ever be fully prepared for what they're trying to do, right? And this is unknown unknowns. These are the questions that you didn't even know you had. The challenges that you didn't even know were challenges, so you couldn't have looked up the answer because you won't find them until you get to them. And this right here is the best reason to start, because the sooner you can get to the answers of these questions by turning them from unknown unknowns into known unknowns, the sooner you can get the answer, which will propel you further in whatever it is you're doing, right? So if you're just trying to fill in all the boxes of known knowns, known unknowns, unknown knowns, the first 3, and you never actually get into it, and you're just sitting on the sidelines, you'll never get to the unknown unknowns. And by that extension, you'll never really get there. So I think the only way to get to this point, to get more answers, to get farther along, to do what it is you want to do, is to get into it, start getting the experience, start doing whatever it is that you're going to do, and then you start to get the answers. So I'll give you some examples for me, right? The first time I tried to write a book, it was fun, it was engaging, but it was probably very mid, right? Like the very first edition that I made, probably garbage. So what I had to do was put it out, realize what was wrong, take a step back, look at it again, re-edit it, and then put it back out, and then it became something better than what it was, right? But at first, I didn't know how bad I was or what I was doing until I just got into it. Photography. I wasn't trained. I didn't go to school for it. I literally just started taking pictures. And one day I was like, oh, I like that. And then I did more research, and then I realized what it actually would take to get good. And then that was that. I wasn't prepared. I was using my mom's camera. I was using my cell phone, you know? At first, I'm sure I was garbage at all of those things. But as I continued and kept pushing and kept learning, I started to figure out what I actually needed. And then I got prepared. If I keep it a band, for most people, you'll probably suck when you start. It's just a part of it, right? But at the same time, everybody has their own different strengths and weaknesses. And the sooner you start, the sooner you realize what those things actually are. So now that we've covered all the reasons why people don't want to start, they don't know what to do, they're scared of judgment, they're scared they'll fail, or they want to be prepared first. Now that we've covered all of that, there's only one thing left to do, and that's actually start.